जहां से आप इंटरनेशनल सिक्योरिटी, इंटरनेशनल रिलेशन और यहाँ से प्रीलिम्स में भी क्वेश्चंस बनते हैं। तो काफ़ी इम्पॉर्टेंट है फर्स्ट वर्ल्ड वॉर। फर्स्ट वर्ल्ड वॉर जिसको हम लोग महान युद्ध के नाम से भी जानते हैं, यानी ग्रेट वॉर के नाम से भी जानते हैं। ये दुनिया का संघर्ष था जिसकी उत्पत्ति जो हुई वो यूरोप में हुई और इसे सभी युद्धों को समाप्त करने वाला युद्ध का उपनाम मिलता था। यानी ऐसा लोग कहते हैं कि फर्स्ट वर्ल्ड वॉर बहुत ही जरूरी था। प्रथम विश्व युद्ध, जिसे आमतौर पर महान युद्ध के रूप में जाना जाता है, प्रथम विश्व युद्ध 1914 से 1918 तक चला। यह एक विनाशकारी वैश्विक संघर्ष था जिसकी शुरुआत ऑस्ट्रिया के आर्च ड्यूक फ्रांज फर्डिनेंड की हत्या से हुई थी। इस युद्ध की जड़ें 19वीं शताब्दी के उत्तरार्ध में यूरोप में व्याप्त साम्राज्यवाद, राष्ट्रवाद और सैन्यवाद के बढ़ते प्रभाव में निहित है। औपनिवेशिक शक्तियों द्वारा विश्व पर प्रभुत्व के लिए संघर्ष करने से जातीय तनाव धीरे धीरे बढ़ने लगा, जिससे जटिल गठबंधन के जाल के माध्यम से कई राष्ट्र इस संघर्ष में शामिल हो गए। प्रथम विश्व युद्ध की शुरुआत यूरोप में हुई, लेकिन ये तेजी से फैल गया और दुनिया भर के देशों को एक विनाशकारी संघर्ष में खींच लिया, जिससे लाखों लोगों की जान गई और वैश्विक राजनीतिक परिदृश्य पूरी तरह से बदल गया। So today we will discuss about First World War. You all know that First World War started the time of 1914 to 1918. The First World War, also known as the Great War, was a global conflict that had its origins in Europe and earned the moniker the war to end all wars. World War, commonly referred to as the Great War, was a devastating worldwide conflict that the word from 1914 to 1980 is sparked by the assassination of Franz Ferdinand of Austria. The war's origins can be traced back to the rising tide of imperialism, nationalism, and militarism that gripped Europe in the late 19th century. Ethnic tensions escalated as colonial powers fought for dominance over the world, drawing nations into the conflict through a complex web of alliances. The First World War began in Europe, but quickly escalated, drawing in countries from around the world into a devastating conflict that would claim millions of lives and reshape the global political landscape. So I have to discuss what is the causes of World War First. World War First, one of the most devastating conflicts in human history, had its roots in several complex and intertwined factors. First one is imperialism. The late 19th and early 20th century saw a rivalry between established European imperial powers like Britain, France, and Russia, and rising power like Germany, Austria, Hungary, Italy, and Japan. These nations were competing fiercely for colonies, economic supremacy, and spheres of influence, fueling tensions. By 1900, Germany's industrial and military rise, fueled by iron and steel production and naval buildup, challenging Britain's supremacy, disrupted the European balance of power. Second problem, Japan's victory over Russia in 1904 to 1905 exposed Russian weakness and undermined its global standing. The 1905 victory highlighted Asia's rising power to defeat a European empire and fueled unrest leading to the 1917 Russian Revolution. After the 1917 Russian Revolution, the Bolshevik government under Vladimir Lenin withdraw Russia from World War First, citing it as an imperialist conflict driven by capitalist interest, aiming to end Russia's involvement in what they deemed an unjust war. Second, most of the problem, you can say colonialism. The Industrial Revolution fueled European powers' pursuit of colonial expansion from raw materials and markets, sparking conflicts over territories and resources. This race for colonies intensified rivalries and fueled nationalist sentiments, setting the stage for future confrontations. While Germany is generally blamed for World War First, the conflict was ultimately the result of competing colonial aspiration and rivalries among European powers. Third, nationalism and demand of nation state is one of the most power problem the world war, you can say. The rise of nationalism, both ethnic and linguistic, played a significant role in the outbreak of World War First. Various ethnic groups with Austria, Hungary, and the Ottoman Empire aspired to establish their own nation states. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I can see your message. I can see your comments. This is very heartwarming to me. Thank you so much. The declining power of the Ottoman Empire, shook man of Europe in the Balkan region, created a power vacuum and fueled nationalist aspiration among various ethnic groups within its territories. This desire for self determination led to conflicts, particularly in the Balkan region. The Balkan Wars of 1912 to 1913, fought between the Balkan state and the Ottoman Empire, further destabilized the region and set the stage for future conflicts. And next one, the causes of First World War is the role of Germany. Germany's aggressive pursuit of colonial expansion, naval buildup challenging British supremacy, and unwavering support of Austria-Hungary after the Sarajevo Assassination fueled tension and accelerated the crisis. You can say that while Germany was not solely responsible, its action and miscalculation were critical factors that precipitated the descent into World War First. Immediate cause, what was the immediate cause? If I can say immediate cause, the immediate trigger was the assassination of Duke Franz Ferdinand of Austria by Bosnian Serb nationalists on June 28, 1914. This event escalated into a conflict between Austria, Hungary, and Serbia, which quickly drew in other parts due to the complex web of alliances and rivalries. Next one is mutual defense alliances. The complex web of alliances like the triple intent like Britain, France, and Russia, and triple alliances like Germany, Austria, Hungary, and Italy bound nation through treaty obligations. When Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia after Sarajevo, Russia had to support its ally Serbia. Germany then honored its alliances with Austria-Hungary, leading to declaration of war against Russia and France. Britain joined to support its Russian and French allies. These interlocking alliances divided Europe into opposing camps, transforming a local crisis into a continent-wide conflagration as countries upheld commitments to respective allies. First World War key events. What is the events and summary? So first, the Moroccan crisis, 1905 to 1906. Aimed to challenge the understanding between France and Britain regarding Egypt and Morocco's possible French takeover. Next, the Germans declared their backing for the Sultan of Morocco to preserve his country's independence and called for an international conference. Conference held in Algeciras, Spain, January 1906. Sorry, Algiers, you can say Spain. Britain, Russia, Italy, and Spain supported the French demand to control Moroccan banks and police, leading to German diplomatic defeat. Next, the British agreement with Russia, which is considered in 1907. Britain and Russia agreement caused concern for Germany as it was perceived as confirmation that Britain, France, and Russia was planning to encirculate. The agreement settled differences in Persia, Afghanistan, and Tibet, aiming for improved relation with British investment in Russian industrial modernization. Next, Bosnia crisis. When Bosnia crisis is found, 1908, Austria-Hungary annexed Bosnia-Herzegovina, a region that was previously under Ottoman rule. Serbia opposed the annexation and sought support from Russia. Russia protested against Austria-Hungary's action and mobilized its military, leading to tensions between the great powers. The Agadir crisis. What is Agadir crisis in 1911? Basically, Agadir crisis was in July 1911. Germany sent a gunboat to the Moroccan port of Agadir, claiming to protect German interests during a local rebellion. France, which had established a protectorate in Morocco, saw Germany moves as a threat to its influence and respond with military force. Britain supported France, fearing German expansion and threat to its colonial interest. Next, the First Balkan War, which is the 1912. In 1912, Balkan states, what is the Balkan state? Like Serbia, Bulgaria, Greece, and Montenegro, sought to overthrow Ottoman rule and redistribute territories. The Balkan states achieved early victories, pushing the Ottomans out of most of their European territories. However, tensions between the Balkan states soon arose over the division of the conquered territories. The war ended in May 1913 with the Treaty of London, but also sowed the seeds of future conflicts in the region. Next, the Second Balkan War, 1913. Bulgaria, dissatisfied the territorial gains of the First Balkan War, attacked its former allies Serbia and Greece. Romania and the Ottoman Empire joined the war against Bulgaria, seeking to regain territories they had lost in the previous conflict. The war ended in August 1913 with the Treaty of Bucharest. You can see Bucharest, which imposed significant territorial losses on Bulgaria. World War I phases. What was the World War first phases? World War first unfold over several distinct phases from 1914 to 1918. This global war, initially centered in Europe, witnessed the participation of major world powers and their colonial empires, resulting a widespread destruction and loss of life on an unprecedented scale. Beginning, if I say beginning, the war began on July 28, 1914, with the Austro-Hungarian declaration of war on Serbia after the assassination of Franz Ferdinand. Phase 1, the opening campaigns in 1914. The war began with the opening campaigns marked by the initial German offensive known as the Schlieffen Plan, which aimed to swiftly defeat France before turning against Russia. This phase witnessed major battles like the First Battle of the Marne and the Battle of Tannenberg, where the Allied forces halted the German advance, leading to a stalemate and the establishment of trench warfare along the Western Front. Phase 2, stalemate and attrition. in 1915 to 1917. The second phase was defined by a prolonged stalemate and a war of attrition characterized by bloody battles like Verdun, the Somme, and Gallipoli, where both sides suffered immense casualties with the territorial gain. This phase also saw the entry of new participants, including the Ottoman Empire and Italy, as well as the withdrawal of Russia. Following the 1917 Bolshevik Revolution, Phase 3, the tide turns, 1917 to 1918. The final phase witnessed a crucial turning point with the entry of the United States on the elite side in 1917. This phase also saw the implementation of new military tactics and technologies, such as the widespread use of tanks and aircraft. Ultimately, Ultimately, the combined effort of the Allied powers, coupled with the exhaustion of the Central Powers, led to the defeat of Germany and its allies. And how to end the First World War? The war ended on November 11, 1918, with the signing of the armistice after the defeat of Germany and its allies. Multiple fronts. The conflict took place on multiple fronts in Europe, Africa, and Asia. The main fronts were the Western Front, with Germany against Britain, France, and later the US, and the Eastern Front, the Russia against Germany and Austria-Hungary. First World War, war consequences. What was the consequences of First World War? First is economic consequences. The participating countries in World War First incurred significant financial cost. Germany and Great Britain spent approximately 60% of their GDP on the war. The finance the war countries raised taxes, borrowed money from citizens, and restored the printing money, leading to post-war inflation. What was the political consequences? The collapse of empires. The war led to the fall of four major empires like the Russian Empire, German Empire, Austro-Hungarian Empire, and Ottoman Empire. This paved the way for the emergence of new nation states and the redrawing of borders. Rise of new nation states and territorial changes. The dissolution of the old empires led to the rise of several new nation states. These newly formed countries, including Poland, Czechoslovakia, and the multiple countries which is involved in First World War. Balaji will bless you always. Thank you so much for worship me. You will get everything. I will bless you. Thank you so much, Balaji. And it's my pleasure. You have to comment on my particular YouTube channel. Sure. And second word is weakening of Europe powers. The war significant weakly the major European powers such as Britain, France, and Germany, both economically and military. This paved the way for the rise of new powers. What was the social consequences? World War First, I had to a profound impact on society. Birth rate declined due to the high number of casualties, leaving millions dead, wounded, maimed, and creating widows and orphans. Many civilians lost their land and became refugees seeking shelter in other countries. Women played a crucial role in the workforce, replacing men in factories and offices during the war. Post-war, many countries granted women more rights, including the right to vote. The First World War challenged the dominant role of the upper classes, as the middle and lower classes demanded a say in shaping their countries, right? So this is the political, social, economical problem consequences of the First World War, which is considered at 1914 to 1918. International consequences. What was the international consequences? The basically you can say in that particular time there are two major you can say divided the world divided in two part, which is USSR and second one is USA, and both are powerful, both are very powerful. Then after International, what are the international consequences? The global order underwent a significant shift with the United States establishing itself as a major power and the Soviet Union inspiring other nations to adopt communist ideologies. This set the stage for the ideological struggle between capitalism and communism. Capitalism, who was the follow capitalism? Just like you can say European countries like America, Britain, Germany, and who was the follow communism like China, Russia, which is known as in that particular time USSR, Soviet Union, Russia, known as the Cold War, which would shape the world for decades to come. The United States, having emerged victorious without experiencing war on its own territory, became a prominent global power. The Russian Revolution of 1917 and social unrest in the aftermath of the war fueled protest and created pre-revolutionary atmosphere in many countries. Extreme nationalism and fear of communist revolution pushed some middle class population towards right-wing extremism and the rise of fascist movements. Creation of the League of Nations, which is very important, you can say very important organization like League of Nation, but this was fail, because if League of Nations was not fail, then how can it start the Second World War? The League of Nations was established as an international diplomatic organization after World War I. This its purpose was to prevent conflicts and resolve disputes between countries before they escalated into full-scale warfare. The League had mixed success and served as a prosecutor to the United Nations, achieving some victories but also facing limitations in the effectiveness. Got it? So this is a reason, consequences, causes, history. So I want to stop this lecture today and we will start a new lecture just like Second World War. So have a good night. Bye bye. Take care.